The Persian Empire. From Cyrus the Great to Alexander the Great. Imagine an empire whose roads crossed continents, connecting east and west, where kings ruled with grandeur and wisdom, and armies conquered lands whispered about in distant realms. This is no myth or legend. It is the Persian Empire, one of the greatest empires of antiquity. How did it arise, reach unparalleled heights, and why did it fall under the onslaught of a young commander from Macedonia? Let's dive into a captivating history where kings, warriors, and philosophers come to life, and the events of the past become a guiding star for the modern world. Chapter 1. The Dawn of the Empire. Cyrus the Great and the Birth of a State. Around 550 BCE, beneath the endless azure skies of the Iranian plateau, a leader rose from the heart of a humble tribe, destined to carve his name into history. Cyrus II, later known as Cyrus the Great. He was no ordinary conqueror. His vision extended beyond mere territorial expansion. A master of diplomacy and governance, he understood that true power lay not in oppression but in unity, tolerance, and justice. Cyrus' ascent began in the rugged lands of Persia, where his people, once subjects of the mighty Medes, yearned for independence. With the fire of ambition burning in his heart, he gathered warriors loyal to his cause and defied the rule of King Astyages, the Median monarch known for his iron grip. The decisive battle saw not only a military triumph but also a turning of loyalties. Many of Astyages' own men, disillusioned by his tyranny, rallied to Cyrus' side. With the fall of Ecbatana, the Median capital, a new era dawned, the birth of the Achaemenid Empire. But Cyrus was no mere warlord. He wielded wisdom as deftly as the sword, forging alliances instead of shackles. When he turned his gaze westward, Lydia, the kingdom of gold, stood in his path. Its ruler, the legendary Croesus, known for his boundless wealth, trusted in the strength of his cavalry and the famed oracle of Delphi, which had foretold that a great empire would fall. Indeed, it did, but not the one he had expected. Through strategic brilliance and relentless perseverance, Cyrus vanquished Lydia, securing its riches and integrating its people into his empire. Yet, perhaps his most defining conquest was that of Babylon, the fabled city of hanging gardens and ancient splendor. Unlike past invaders, Cyrus did not plunder its temples or enslave its citizens. Instead, he entered the city in triumph, welcomed as a liberator. The Babylonians, long burdened under the rule of Nabonidus, saw in him a just and pious king. His first decree? The release of enslaved peoples, including the exiled Jews, whom he allowed to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. Did you know that the famous Cyrus cylinder, discovered among the ruins of Babylon, is considered by many historians to be the world's first charter of human rights? Inscribed in cuneiform script, it declares religious freedom, the abolition of forced labor, and the restoration of sacred sites across the empire. Its principles resonated through the ages, influencing governance even in modern times. With each conquest, Cyrus did not merely expand borders, he wove together cultures, languages, and traditions, laying the foundation for an empire that would endure for centuries. His legacy was not one of tyranny, but of enlightened rule, a beacon of governance that would shape the world long after his passing. Chapter 2. The Golden Age. Darius the Great and the Zenith of Power. After Cyrus's death, power passed to his son Cambyses II, who conquered Egypt but failed to maintain stability in the empire. The true architect of the Persian Empire was Darius I, known as Darius the Great. He not only restored order after periods of turmoil but also created an administrative system that allowed for effective governance of vast territories stretching from India to the Aegean Sea. Darius divided the empire into satrapies, provinces governed by satraps, which ensured efficient control. He built the famous Royal Road, over 500 kilometers long, connecting Susa and Sardis, facilitating trade and rapid communication. By the way, ancient Persian couriers could cover up to 250 kilometers a day thanks to a system of relay stations. Their motto was, "Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers, which later inspired the slogan for the United States Postal Service. Under Darius's rule, the empire flourished not only through military might but also through cultural and economic prosperity. He introduced standardized currency, the gold daric, which promoted trade across the vast empire and even beyond its borders. The gleaming coins, stamped with the image of the great king himself holding a bow, symbolized the wealth and unity of the Achaemenid realm. Markets bustled with merchants trading spices from India, fine linens from Egypt, and precious metals from Anatolia, all thriving under the stability that Darius's policies ensured. Darius was also a master of monumental architecture. In the heart of Persia, he commissioned the construction of Persepolis, an awe-inspiring ceremonial capital carved into terraces rising from the rocky earth. Its grand palaces, with towering columns and intricate reliefs, depicted scenes of tribute-bearers from every corner of the empire, showcasing the diversity and vastness of his dominion. The Apadana Hall, with its 72 colossal columns, stood as a testament to the grandeur of Achaemenid power and the sophisticated artistry of its craftsmen. Interestingly, Darius's reign marked the first known use of an official written language to unify administration, Old Persian cuneiform. His inscriptions, like the famous Behistun inscription carved high on a limestone cliff, told tales of his victories and divine right to rule, serving both as historical records and political propaganda. Darius's ambition even reached the seas. He initiated naval expeditions, built canals to connect the Nile with the Red Sea, and attempted to conquer Greece, leading to the legendary battles that would ignite the Greco-Persian Wars. Though his campaign at Marathon ended in defeat, his legacy as a visionary ruler remained unshaken, for he had carved an empire not just with the sword, but with the pen, the coin, and the stone. Chapter 3: Conflict with the West, the Greco-Persian Wars. However, Persia's might was not enough to subjugate the freedom-loving Greek city-states. In the early 5th century BCE, the Greco-Persian Wars erupted, becoming a battleground for two civilizations: Persia, the vast empire of majestic palaces and disciplined armies, and Greece, a patchwork of fiercely independent city-states bound by a common love for freedom and valor. Darius I, the King of Kings, sought to expand his dominion westward, envisioning the Greek lands as yet another jewel in his imperial crown. His campaign culminated in the Battle of Marathon in 490 BCE. The Persians, with their impressive fleet and well-trained archers, landed on the plains near Marathon, confident in their numerical superiority. Yet, they faced an unexpected challenge: the determined Athenian hoplites, clad in bronze armor, forming tight phalanxes. In a breathtaking display of strategy and courage, the Greeks charged across the plain, closing the distance quickly to neutralize the Persian archers' advantage. The victory was not just military, it was symbolic, proving that disciplined courage could triumph over overwhelming odds. An interesting fact: the word marathon comes from the legend of the Greek soldier Pheidippides, who is said to have run over 40 kilometers from Marathon to Athens to announce the victory, exclaiming, "We have won!" Before collapsing from exhaustion, his legendary feat inspired the creation of the modern marathon race. But the Persian ambition did not end with Darius. His son, Xerxes I, determined to avenge his father's defeat, orchestrated one of the largest military expeditions in ancient history. In 480 BCE, his vast army, said by ancient historians to number over 1 million men, though modern estimates suggest hundreds of thousands, crossed the Hellespont using an ingenious pontoon bridge, a marvel of engineering for its time. This colossal force advanced into Greece like an unstoppable tide. Yet, at the narrow mountain pass of Thermopylae, the Persians encountered a defiant wall of resistance. King Leonidas of Sparta and his 300 elite warriors, supported by a few thousand Greek allies. For 3 days, the Spartans held the pass, their discipline and unyielding spirit immortalized in history. They fought not just with swords and spears but with the fierce belief that honor was worth dying for. Though they were ultimately overwhelmed, Their sacrifice galvanized Greek unity and became a symbol of heroic defiance against tyranny. Meanwhile, the naval battle at Salamis showcased Greek ingenuity. Themistocles, the Athenian commander, lured the massive Persian fleet into the narrow straits where their numbers became a disadvantage. The agile Greek triremes, sleek and fast, rammed and sank the cumbersome Persian ships, turning the tide of the war. Another fascinating detail. The Persian army's elite force, known as the Immortals, earned their name because their number was always maintained at exactly 10,000 men. Whenever one fell, another warrior immediately took his place, creating the illusion of an unending, immortal force. These events did more than shift the balance of power. They forged the cultural identities of both Persia and Greece. The wars highlighted the contrasting values of imperial grandeur and democratic resilience, influencing the course of Western civilization for centuries to come. Chapter 4: The Fall of a Giant. Alexander the Great and the Decline of the Empire. Despite internal reforms and attempts to strengthen power, Persia weakened due to corruption, despotism, and uprisings in the provinces. The once unshakable empire, which had flourished under the mighty Achaemenids, now seemed fragile, caught in a web of infighting and instability. It was during this period of turmoil that a young and ambitious commander from Macedonia emerged, destined to change the course of history: Alexander the Great. His swift and calculated campaign against Persia became one of the most legendary conquests of all time, sending shockwaves throughout the ancient world. In 334 BCE, with military brilliance and unparalleled strategy, Alexander crossed the Hellespont, embarking on a journey that would forever alter the fate of Persia. His forces, though outnumbered, delivered crushing defeats to the Persian armies at the battles of Issus and Gaugamela. The Persians, under the command of their king, Darius III, were caught off guard and outmaneuvered. Darius, unable to organize an effective defense, retreated, leaving his empire vulnerable to the Macedonian onslaught. The once mighty Persian military, a symbol of vast power and dominance, crumbled beneath the precision of Alexander's tactics. After Darius III's tragic death, a new chapter in history began. Alexander, the Conqueror, marched into Persepolis, the capital of the Persian Empire, a city rich in culture and splendor. But with his entry came an unforgettable symbol of destruction. The city was set ablaze, with the flames engulfing the royal palaces and treasures of the Achaemenid dynasty. The fire, some say, was sparked by the courtesan Thais, who urged Alexander to avenge the burning of Athens during the Persian Wars. The flames that consumed Persepolis marked not only the fall of the city but also the symbolic end of the mighty Persian Empire. Yet, in a twist of fate, Alexander's relationship with the Persian culture was far from one of destruction. Unlike many conquerors who sought to erase the identity of the civilizations they defeated, Alexander admired Persia's rich heritage and sought to preserve its legacy. In an act of remarkable cultural integration, he adopted many Persian customs, from dress to court etiquette. His love for Persian culture even led him to marry the Persian princess Roxana, forging an alliance that symbolized his commitment to uniting the East and the West. In this vision, Alexander sought to create a new world order, one where Greek and Persian traditions would coexist and merge, creating a cosmopolitan empire that transcended national boundaries. His vision, however, was to be short-lived. Alexander's untimely death in 323 BCE left the dream of a unified empire in tatters. Yet his conquest had irrevocably changed the world, creating a cultural and political legacy that would echo throughout the ages. The history of the Persian Empire is a story of greatness and decline, of wise rulers and ambitious conquerors, of cultures that left an indelible mark on world civilization. Persia's legacy lives on today, in ideas of justice, in architecture, in languages, and in the memory of nations. To understand its history is to better understand both ourselves and our world. And that's it, thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring historical worlds, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on more exciting stories.